If I was the deep state and I wanted to destroy America, I would rig the election with a puppet candidate. One that was so compromised that they would never say a word about it. I would create a false flag that allows for mail-in ballots. I would be in charge of the ballot counting machines. I would create a false flag to blame all who question the results of the election. If I was the deep state, I would prosecute anyone that went against me. I would sue and prosecute anyone that spoke up about the fraudulent election. I would use my powers to shut down all your internet businesses and bankrupt you. If I was the deep state, I would make everyone an example why you should never question a Democrat ever winning an election. I would imprison my foes. I would use my corrupt DAs and blackmailed judges to destroy you. I would make sure all crimes I ever committed never happened. I would prosecute my biggest competition. I would make sure they could never run for office ever again. If I was the deep state, I would convince everyone that Ukraine Nazis were good and women are men. If I was the deep state, I would own every politician that mattered. If I was the deep state, I would push my pedophilia ambitions on you. If I was the deep state, you'd question your sexual identity but not the medical establishment. If I was the deep state, you would fear to ever resist me. If I was the deep state, you would wish I was really the devil. If I was the deep state, I would say mission accomplished.
Welcome back to the program. So the first thing that I want to talk about is something that I've been talking about ever since RFK Jr. endorsed President Trump. What have I been saying? I've been saying that the Trump campaign needs to unleash this new weapon in order to gain female voters. And I said that he should go out on the road and he should take Tulsi Gabbard with him. And he should start doing rallies on his own. Well, guess what, folks? I just got a text message from Team Trump. Let me make sure I look at my phone and make sure there's no incriminating evidence or anyone can find out where I'm at and who I am. But I will show you, okay? Can you see what that says? Whoops. Hang on, let me go over here. What does that say? RSVP to join Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and former U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard in Glendale, Arizona this Saturday. Now, I will keep it a secret as to whether or not I go. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. I don't usually like to telepath to the public where I'm going to be beforehand. So more than likely, I will not attend. Certainly probably not this one for my own safety. But it is good to know that perhaps, that information is finally getting to the right people. Unleash this new weapon. Unleash RFK Jr. Tell him you're allowed to cover these items. You can talk about childhood obesity. You can talk about vaccine safety. You can talk about, food safety. You can talk about a healthier environment. You can talk about a healthier food supply, getting rid of seed oils, whatever it is, all the different things, that the crispy type of, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's types of folks like. And to be quite frank, my wife is one of them, even though she's conservative. And thankfully she is, because guess what? I'm eating healthier. That's right. I'm eating much healthier. I don't have any bioengineered food in my diet. She doesn't even, put it this way. She won't even give me sandwich cold cuts, okay? You know what she does? She goes to the store and she buys chicken. And then she puts it in the crock pot. And she puts some spices in it and, flavoring, a little broth, whatever. And she cooks it for 7 or 8 hours. And then she takes the chicken, she shreds it, and then she takes the high fiber English muffins, and she puts, because I like jalapenos, she puts the little jalapenos on, a little onion, a little chicken, and she gives me that sandwich every day. And guess what? I don't snack during the day. I feel full all day long until I have dinner, because she cares. She doesn't even want me to have processed deli meat or anything like that. So I think it's a wonderful thing, honestly, that Make America Healthy Again is something that everybody can get behind, especially women. And in particular, we've got to get these single women over. If we can grab 3 to 4% of the single women, he's going to win, regardless of what happened last night. It's really just a numbers game at this point. But, you know, we're going to find out in the next few days what the polls look like. I already said what I thought, and I definitely am seeing that he finished strong. So that's a little bit different from even last night. And then, of course, the moderators. You know, this was basically President Trump walked into a fist fight with Kamala, who had a gun. All of a sudden, she's now, you know, a gun owner, right? That was a shocker. And then not only did she have a gun, but she had 2 armed guards in the other moderators. Whatever. So it's just it's a disaster. It's a joke. I'm hoping and praying the American people don't buy into the lies and the deception and the bullshit. And because the moderators didn't just moderate and decided to attack one of the candidates in the, quote, debate, well, a lot of people on our side are fed up, and we've decided to fight back. And so here's a video that debunks a lot of the bullshit that she was able to spew and lie about without being fact-checked. Gonna roll this clip.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it the right way.
Do you believe in the mandatory buyback of quote-unquote assault weapons?
I do believe that we need to do buyback. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went...
Where do you stand on defund the police?
Look, right. So here's the thing. Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong. And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools. On that point, Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
So there you go. We'll see what happens with that. Now, the next quote-unquote controversy, if it is any at all, and this is something that, look, when Hillary ran against him, people talked about maybe she had an earpiece, right? There was terms with Biden, you know, they said that he might have an earpiece. We don't know if it was or it was not. But last night, her earrings, a lot of people are talking about this, okay? Now, I don't do conspiracy, all right? I wasn't even going to bring this up until the company that makes the earrings, well, gave some pretty interesting public comments, shall we say, all right? So let's go through this one real briefly, because I'm going to do a short video tonight. Wireless audio earrings company responds to rumors that Heels Up headboard Harris wore an earpiece during the presidential debate. So there's pictures, of course, of it. But here is what they said. Quote, "We do not know whether Miss Harris wore one of our products." So in other words, you're not coming out and saying it's absolutely false. There's no way possible that she wore any of our products. No, your first statement was, quote, "We do not know whether or not Miss Harris wore one of our products." Then there's this telling sentence. "The resemblance is striking." Their words. "The resemblance is striking, and while our product was not specifically developed for this type of use at presidential debates, it is nonetheless suited for it." Let me repeat that. "We do not know whether or not she wore one of our devices. The resemblance is striking, and while our product was not specifically developed for the use at a presidential debate, it is nonetheless suited for it," says Malte Iverson, managing director at Icebach Sound. He told Just the News on Wednesday. Okay? So I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt. All of a sudden she sounds, articulate and smart, like she knows what the hell she's talking about. Meanwhile, she can't put two sentences together. Sometimes she's worse than Biden. And now all of a sudden she sounds what? Like a lead prosecutor, in a case where she doesn't fumble on her words. Something's a little off there. Okay? Something's definitely a little off there. So I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt. These people will cheat. They'll do anything to stay in power. That's what people have to understand. There's no morals. There's no values. There's no scruples. There's no nothing. They are deviant demons, and they will do whatever they can to try to stay in power. And that's what people have to understand. So I wanted to cover that as well because, again, I thought that was pretty important. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this. One of the attacks that President Trump rightfully put forward against her was, you could change all of this right now if you really truly wanted to. As a matter of fact, why don't we go down to Washington, D.C., let's go back to that big, beautiful white building, the White House, and then you can go and you can sign an executive order right now that would stop 100% all illegal immigration coming into the country. That was a smart move by him because the truth is that it can be done. And don't just hear it from me or from President Trump. Hear it from the Special Assistant on Immigration Litigation for the Department of Justice or Injustice, Christian Cooper, as he was caught in a Project Veritas video saying exactly the truth. Go and roll this clip.
Why don't they just close the border? That's my question.
I personally think Biden has the power to do that. The refugee and asylum stuff is a mess. There's the backlog for asylum is so bad because there's so much more immigration than there was 20 years ago.
What's the percentage of cases that you see come across that get deported?
Not many. Out of all the ones I've seen so far, they have all been asylum approvals.
Deportation's good? But a Democrat appointee couldn't say that because it does not. Why?
But it fit the party platform.
And who made the party platform is my question.
Whoever gives the most money to the Democratic Party. And we're completely controlled by the special interests above us.
I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people.
It is my testimony that the border is secure.
And we're completely controlled by the special interests above us.
You work with the DHS officers.
Yeah, they're actually called immigration officers. Yeah, and they're under U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. So U.S. Citizenship and Immigration is like the benefits agency for immigrants. I'll be at DOJ. I started in February, and I'll be there till next February.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll go back to my other job.
Which was what?
The council with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Okay, so they're just putting you on loan.
Yeah, basically, that's a very good way to think about it.
Oh, the refugee and asylum.
And like, that's...
What do you mean?
It's just so much. I mean, there's so many people applying for asylum. Like, there's all those people at the border that are coming over, then saying, I'm applying for asylum. They don't know what to do. And then, like, there's the backlog for asylum is so bad. There's more flows of people coming in now.
Why is that?
Because Biden's president. Because he's more liberal in immigration. Because there's so much more immigration than there was 20 years ago.
And yeah, even more than during Trump, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. But they don't admit that. Why? And why don't they just close the border? That's my question.
I personally think Biden has the power to do that. I really do think that Biden has executive authority to close the border. I think the power has been delegated to him by the Immigration and Nationality.
That's not opinion. That's you knowing the law.
Yeah, I think, or not. I mean, total, but like not Garland. Mayorkas, I think, may have the power to do that just through the Immigration and Nationality Act, how it reads.
And he doesn't do it.
Well, I don't think he knows. I don't think they know whether it's legal or not, so that's why they don't do it. Sometimes you got to take a chance.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want that look unless it's really necessary.
But Trump is campaigning on deporting everybody if he gets elected. That's going to get support.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the percentage of cases that you see come across that get deported?
Not many. Out of all the ones I've seen so far, they have all been asylum approvals.
Is that the problem?
I don't think so. Because they are getting approved, which means that if they're approved asylum, technically their entrance was legal, even if it wasn't. But actually, you'd be surprised. Most people that are suing for their asylum application to come, like to be decided on, they did specifically enter and were admitted to the United States legally on visitor, on non-immigrant visas. So like, just you're visiting. Or you're only going to be here for a certain period of time, and then they apply for asylum when that status runs out.
So it's kind of like a loophole they're taking advantage of.
Yes.
So how do those asylum requests get approved if they were just visiting in the first place?
Because that's usually the way to get out of the country that they're being persecuted from.
Your position, seeing all that you see, is different. You must think that, asylum is good, deportation is good. But a Democrat appointee couldn't say that because it does not. Why?
Doesn't fit the party platform.
And who made the party platform is my question.
The party insiders.
The party what?
Insiders.
And who's that?
Whoever gives the most money to the Democratic Party. And we're completely controlled by the special interests above us.
It's a fact?
They have the most influence in their elected officials because they donate the most money.
There it is. They're doing it because they want more votes, number one. They're doing it because the donors are giving them money to do it. Why? Probably because they want cheap labor, right? They don't care about the country. They just want to make money. And so here's what's happening. They can stop this. They can stop it anytime they want, but they won't do it because they don't care about you. They don't care if you're murdered in your house. They don't care if people are eating dogs and cats, which, by the way, is true. There's an audio recording already out that shows people calling about these things, saying that there's people in the park that are killing geese and cats and everything else. There are images of people that are Haitian walking around with a fucking goose in their hand, dead, okay? There are other videos in which a woman from Canton, Ohio, not Springfield, Canton, Ohio, let's be accurate. There's a video out there. She's being arrested, and a police officer arrests her and said, "What happened to the cat?" And the witnesses said, "Oh, she stepped on its neck, and then she ate it." And then the woman, whoever she is looking, and the officer says, show me your teeth. Show me your mouth. So again, the Springfield Police Department is lying. They are lying. Why they're lying, I don't know. They need to retract what they have put out, because it is 100, 1,000, 1 million, 1 trillion% accurate that they are eating cats, dogs, geese, and ducks. It is 100% accurate. And when am I ever wrong? Exactly. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one. Hey, Josh Bernstein here, America's favorite bald badass. Did you know that Bill O'Reilly charges $6.95 a month to see his content? Or how about the Blaze TV, who charges $10 a month? Or you could always subscribe to the Ben Shapiro podcast at $12 a month. But if you are looking for the best value and the most hardest hitting news, you've come to the right spot. Because here at JoshBernsteinUncensored.com, we drop the most jaw-dropping stories 7 days a week, starting at only $3 a month. So please head on over to the new releases tab, become an exclusive member of the Badass Nation, and join the fight to save this country with one of America's most hated, feared, and censored conservative voices. Remember, if it's banned on social media, you'll find it here. God bless.